One, two, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh yeah, what's up, everybody? Hopefully, you guys can hear me. I have a little problem with my headphones, and to be truthful, it's dead. I need to charge them up. I'm sorry about that. But we're going to continue, and I assume in a very short period of time, I'll have my headphones on, and things will be pretty cool. Let me know if you can hear me though, because I'm not quite sure. But we're going to start the show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. My name is Frank Red, and in the chat, if you can, just let me know if you can hear me, if I sound okay. That would really help me out. Off the top, I want to say what's up to Vicky. How you doing? Thank you for stepping in here. She says, "What's up, Frank? What happened to the Bills? What do you think about Victor? I'm glad he's with Coach Pop. Hope you're doing good." All right, very good. Thank you, Vicky. Appreciate that. You know what? I mean, the Bills are a team that really lacks consistency, and I think that starts with the coach. Sean McDermott is solid. They got good players, but leadership-wise, I'm a little concerned. I mean, Josh Allen is a super talented quarterback, but I think because of Diggs and maybe because of his personality, he hasn't been able to really galvanize that team the way that he needs to get them to do things that need to be done. And I think that's too much responsibility for a guy like Sean McDermott, the head coach, who historically has never been like a real galvanizing personality. So I think they lack leadership. And the example that I'll use is Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Eagles has a bunch of guys who are A personalities. Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, the head coach, AJ Brown. They got a bunch of guys. Fletcher on the defense, big play Slay. You need to be able to talk to your teammates in a way that they get it, and they go out and execute and get things done. And we've seen Buffalo over a couple of years now, and we scratch our heads because we know that they should be better. You can look at the KC Chiefs and Andy Reid, and clearly he's the guy, right? But they're on autopilot. Pat Mahomes is a leader. Travis Kelce is a leader. So that's my opinion on Buffalo. There's no way they should be 4-3, but they are. I believe they play Tampa Bay next week, so they might be able to get right against them. But I take my hat off to Philadelphia. I just like the way they play football. I really do. And I put something out there last week on Twitter when somebody said on a talk show that the 49ers were head and shoulders above Philly. You think so? I don't think so. I think that would be a terrific game, and it would probably come down to whomever has home field advantage. You know what I'm saying? Because they're rock solid on both sides of the football. Speaking of the 49ers, they have a tough game tomorrow night, and I'm not snickering when I say that. They play on the road, and we don't know who they're going to have. We assume that CNC is going to play, but he's not going to be at full strength. So, they'll be at a disadvantage. that should create some opportunities for Elijah Mitchell and Jordan Mason tomorrow. So I think the 49ers are pretty solid in the backfield. And also, I'm looking at Ronnie Bell, the rookie out of Michigan, and Jawan Jennings to get off because Debo's not going to play. He's going to miss some time. Trent Williams, will he play the tough guy? I don't know. But I think we expect the 49ers to win, but it's not going to be a cakewalk. Anytime you play on the road, I don't care who you are, and you get a win, that's a solid accomplishment. So 49ers fans out there, if you want to comment on how you think the team's going to do tomorrow night on Monday Night Football, feel free to step into the chat and comment on that. Pretty good week of football, both in college and the NFL. I got to tell you, one of the, one of the stories that has not been talked about enough to me is the job that Nick Saban has done in Alabama. I've said it before and I said it again. This is not one of his most talented teams. He was the guy who reinserted Jalen Milroe back into the starting lineup as the quarterback after he had been benched, literally after one bad outing against Texas. And this young man has performed like nobody thought that he would. I mean, he looks like an NFL prospect, to be quite honest with you. Maybe not a franchise quarterback, but he looks like a guy who has some potential to play at the next level. And I think a lot of it just stems from Nick Saban giving him the confidence that he needed to go out there and get the job done. So I'm big on Alabama right now. They're not, I don't know if they're the best team in college football. I don't know if we have a best team in college football. I don't know. I mean, you look at the two top teams, and to me, it's Florida State and it's Michigan. Those are the two teams that look a little above the rest of the fray. Oklahoma is undefeated, and Ohio State is undefeated. But Ohio State, do they really look that good to you? They don't look that good to me. I mean, I'm disappointed in Penn State. I heard all of this stuff about, how good this young quarterback was and so on and so forth. He's probably a pretty good player. Alar, I guess his name is, but he can't move. Cannot move. And I think Ohio State took advantage of that. McCord, Ohio State's quarterback, he's okay. Seemingly he will get better. But I give him credit. He was smart enough to get the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr., who just went off. And that's why they won. But I think Ohio State fans are so used to being the big dog that they look at their team, and I don't think that they're real happy with Coach Day. I just don't. They look pretty lackluster. As I said, Michigan looks like a juggernaut, and Florida State looks outstanding in terms of talent. Florida State might have the most full prospects of any team in college on their team, either them or Michigan. So we'll see how that turns out. USC obviously have all but killed their aspirations for any type of national title, anything like that. And I'm not surprised by it, and I had talked about it, as you guys know, over the past couple of weeks. I really didn't like what I was seeing from Caleb Williams. And it's not that it's his fault, but I expect him to be so good that he's able to really change the dynamic of the game when his team really, really needs him. And we haven't seen that consistently this year. Great player. I assume he'll come out, but it's not a sure-in that he's going to be the number one pick. It's not. And even Drake May, the young man at UNC, went down to Virginia this week. So scouts are working overtime to figure out who's going to be the guy in this year's NFL draft. But those are my thoughts on college football. Washington won, but they were not spectacular. I love the sport, so I'm not necessarily into who is the juggernaut and who's the best. Now, a lot of people might say, Red, you haven't mentioned Georgia. Yeah, I haven't mentioned Georgia, and they are undefeated. But I like Michigan more than I like Georgia, and I like Florida State more than I like Georgia. So there's 5 teams that we know of that are undefeated. Maybe there's another one that I'm not thinking of right now. But I think it's up for grabs in college football. With regards to the NFL, again, there's 5 or 6 really good teams that can make some noise at the end of the year. We know who they are. The 49ers, the Eagles. People were putting the Detroit Lions in that category, and they got thumped today by a really good Baltimore Ravens team. I ask you this question. We have never seen Lamar Jackson play quarterback like he did today. I mean, he was so accurate. It was amazing how accurate he was playing in the pocket, using his legs. I thought he was outstanding. So you got to look at Baltimore a little differently now. Mark Gray says Caleb seemed more interested in where he's going to play in the NFL than taking care of the task at hand. Yeah, and I'm like this, dude. Mark, I see him in an awful lot of commercials, dude. And, I'm like, get your money. This is a different deal. But do you have to be that I think he's overexposed, to be quite honest with you. And I think that when you are a 19, 20-year-old kid, that has an effect on your teammates. I think it's not like Pat Mahomes being on every commercial. This is a college kid. He really hasn't done anything outside of enthralling college football fans. He hasn't won a national championship. They're not even going to be in the playoffs this year. They're not even the best team in their own conference. So I think he needs to slow it down. I'm going to say this. I don't know how Lincoln Riley feels about this, but it would not be absurd for him to think about maybe coming back for another year. I don't think it would be. Maybe the allure of the NFL might be too much for him to turn down. The money's there, so on and so forth. But talk about a downward spiral in terms of what people thought that he could be. I mean, he's awesome. He's a talented guy. But it's not ending the way that I think most people had hoped. And I'm not getting the defensive coordinator off I'm not letting him off the hook. It seems like he's afraid of Lincoln Riley. Because to me, anybody else would have been called on the carpet. This is not like 1 year. This is several years where their defense has just really been pathetic. When you look at USC, nobody should be able to recruit better than USC, particularly on the West Coast. And Caleb's not even from the West Coast. He's from Maryland. So do you have any thoughts on that particular issue for the NFL? One thing I wanted to say is I'm not to kill a couple of narratives. The Russell Wilson sucks, can't play anymore narrative is BS. And I'm tired of highly paid analysts screaming that on the radio and on television. We all been watching football for a long time. He's not what he was. He's not. He's not even better than Geno Smith right now. But to say that he's not a kid, to say that Russell Wilson can't play football anymore, it's ridiculous. It is totally absurd. It is wrong. If you look at the 32 quarterbacks in the NFL, Russell Wilson has to be one of the top 12 or 13 quarterbacks based off production. And I take some of that off just because they're not winning a lot of games. They're winning their second game today. But this narrative that this guy is terrible, come on, man, stop it. I mean, you don't like him for whatever reasons, I don't know. That's okay. But tell the truth. That's all I ask. Just tell the truth. The other narrative I want to kill is Bill Belichick is done. The game has passed him by. Really? Come on, man. Come on. Coaches need players to produce. That's what they need. They need players to produce or they can't be successful. It doesn't matter how great you are. If your players don't go out and execute, you're not going to win. The reason why New England won against Buffalo today is because Mac Jones went out and played solid football. It was interesting to me. I was up early and they had a segment, I forget what network it was on, in which Nick Saban was talking about what he used to call Mac at Alabama when he would sulk and hold his head down when things wasn't going well, like he does in the NFL. And Nick Saban said that he called him Don McEnroe. And I thought it was so fitting because you wouldn't think of a professional athlete at this stage with all the success that Mac has had to really live and die with every play. It's amazing. But I think Nick Saban hit it on the head. He might even saw that clip and said, Coach Saban is watching, he's coaching me up, I got to do better. And he went out and he played good football. The antithesis of that is Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, I mean, no matter if he makes the most inexplicable play, it does not bother him. He's unflappable. He has so much inner confidence in himself that he just goes out and just plays football. And I love that about Jalen. I don't always love everything that he does, but I just love his confidence and his focus, his professionalism. It's awesome. And I think that's why Philly wrote that big check when a lot of people might have waited or said, well, maybe not so much, but they wrote the check because I think that they know what they have in their quarterback. Now, let me say this about him though. I don't like his gait. Did anybody else notice that? There's something about Jalen's gait that is not allowing him to run as fast or be as quick as he was in the past. So there might be some type of injury or something that I don't know about, or maybe it's not public and he's just kind of gutting it out because he knows that his team needs him, but he doesn't appear to be as quick as he has in the past, as he has been in the past. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. If you have, let me know. New York Giants, just really in vintage Bill Parcells form, just muscled out a win today against the Washington Commanders. That was guts and guile. That's all it was. It was vintage New York Giants football. I got to give Tyrod Taylor a lot of credit because he's the backup, and he might not be. I don't think he's as talented as Daniel Jones, but he's a better quarterback right now. And I think people know that. And you look at Daniel Jones on the sideline, and you see that big $90 million price tag on him, and you go, wow, did the Giants really do this? Because I think Tyrod Taylor gives them the best chance to actually win. And secondly, when I look at the Giants, every time I look at Saquon Barkley, I think he got screwed by the Giants. He's clearly the energy, he's the pulse, he's the best player on the team. And analytics be damned. I don't care what the statistics say. When you got a dude on your team that can galvanize the rest of the players, make the coach look good, that's the guy who you pay. And I think that we saw today, this afternoon, even though the Indianapolis Colts lost, Jonathan Taylor looked like Jonathan Taylor. And if you look to the future, you take a real sigh of relief and you say to yourself, you know what? We got a number one running back. He looked good, and he looked worthy of the contract extension that they gave him, $14 million a year, 3 years, $42 million. I don't think good players should have to beg for money just because of a mantra or a decree that has been set by someone with a computer who's spitting out algorithms. I just don't believe that. My man Mark Graves says, I'll put my glasses, not making mistakes. TV guys were saying Hurts is squatting 600 pounds. Maybe it's too much muscle to run fast. You think? Mark, it's ironic you say that because it makes a whole lot of sense. It really does. He might have pulled something. Maybe he's not doing it now, but he does not look as fast as he was in the past. Lastly, the last thing I'm going to say about the NFL, and I'll leave it open for anybody who wants to comment, is can you guys believe what Mike Tomlin is doing? The Pittsburgh Steelers are 4-2. And I'm going to say this. If you wanted to blow up a computer, blow up an algorithm, put the Pittsburgh Steelers numbers into it and try to spew out a 4-2 record. It wouldn't work. It'd probably blow the whole thing up. How the hell are they 4-2? I mean, can somebody tell me that? How are the Pittsburgh Steelers 4-2? I don't know. But I give a lot of the credit to their head coach because, I mean, what a stelling job that he is exhibiting to his team, because they don't look like they have an NFL quarterback. They really don't. Not for the future. Maybe he's a backup. Maybe he's going to take some more time. But he kind of aims the ball. He doesn't roll the ball. He doesn't let it go. And that's what you got to do. You have to let the ball go. Even when he was in college, he kind of threw like looping long balls, and faster receivers would run under the ball 40, 50 yards for long touchdowns. But you never saw that Josh Allen zip on the ball. Even Jalen Hurts. When Jalen Hurts lets it go, it's a missile down the field. We have so many other quarterbacks in the NFL that can do that. So, salute to Mike Tomlin, because I don't think anybody really saw that coming. So you got to big him up. I want to get into the NBA. Big time basketball fan. Fortunately, we live in an area where we have excellent teams. The league as a whole, the NBA as a whole, is a very, very competitive league. I would say it's more. I mean, the NBA is more competitive than the NFL right now. Certainly more competitive than MLB. It is the most competitive league. And they get it started on Tuesday night. Golden State Warriors take on the PHX Suns, and the LA Lakers take on the world champion Denver Nuggets. I'm going to talk about the PHX Suns. They're not winning the championship. I've seen enough of them in the preseason. You might say, Red, you're crazy. Well, I don't believe you. But they're not winning the championship. They don't have a point guard. They don't have a point guard. And even structurally, to think that they could put that team together and think that they could win a championship, where we know that half-court execution is paramount in winning the championship, I don't see it. I would love to be proven wrong, but I don't think it's going to happen. You know, I'm watching Kevin Durant in street clothes, watching the game. Let me say this about Kevin Durant. The best basketball that Kevin Durant played in his career was with the Golden State Warriors. The game was so easy for him. Easy. You know, he never had so many cut layups, layups cutting to the basket before in his career. And I watched him at the tail end of last year. I think he got a little tired because he had to work into shots. He had to dribble into shots. And without a point guard, I think he's going to be doing some of that stuff this year. Booker's a small, real talented two guard. He's only 6'4". And Bradley Beal's 6'3". They're all great talent, but I think they're going to come up short. Mark Graves said the Suns bench is weak, and their big three is going to play 38. Yeah, exactly. Mark, I think you and I kind of see some of the same things. It doesn't mean that they won't win 50 to 55 games. They're going to be a party at home. They're going to win a lot of home games, They're going to win some games in a row. They're talented. While the bench might not be great, they got bodies. I think cutting Wainwright was a mistake for them because although he might not be the most talented guy in the world, he was kind of a switch Army knife guy for them. And I think Bogle is probably underestimating what he brings to the table. So I like the Warriors. The Warriors might not win as many regular season games. I got the Warriors winning around 50. I think that they will exceed the number that the consensus says that they will win, which is around, 46 to 48. I think they'll win 50. And it's because of what Phoenix doesn't have. The Warriors have tremendous depth. And Kuminga, he looks different. He looks different right now. And I was thinking about this before the show even started that I wanted to speak to. Let's see if I can put my headphones on. This is very nice. No, still not working. Oh well. But I think the Warriors should start contract extension talks with Kuminga. I don't think the number should be crazy, but I would have a conversation with him and his agent to see, a 4-year, $80 million deal to see if he's interested in something like that. I think it would give him the security that he needs, I would assume he desires, and maybe it can save the Warriors some money on the front end and not get into the $30 million range, which a lot of these cats want. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? I think that just in the preseason, I've seen enough to draw a conclusion that I think he's going to be okay, and maybe better than that. I think he gives the Warriors so much flexibility now, how he's playing, and Andrew Wiggins is playing very, very well. So I'm excited about the Warriors, and I'll continue to talk about that. What is up? I got to get your name right. I'm going to go ask you, bro. Abdullah. There you go. Abdullah. What's up, my brother? What's up, Frank? Any chance Trae Young leads Atlanta to a top 3 seed in the East and possibly MVP? He averaged 31 and 10. Nah, I don't think so. No way. No. And the reason why is Boston, Milwaukee, and you might say, that's it, Red. Don't put Philly ahead of Atlanta. If Atlanta shows me that they can be a top 7, top 8 defensive team, then I think they got action. And then I think that you can really start to lean in to what Trae Young is producing on the offensive end. But it needs to be more than Trae Young. Abdullah, tell me the other player on the team they can count on. Who is it? They got a good complement of good players, but who is another guy that they can go to that is either one of the top offensive players or one of the top defensive players? You got to have that to be a top 3 seed, in my opinion. Mark Graves says, JK looking very aggressive in the preseason. Yeah, he's not only looking aggressive, Mark, he's doing things that high-level players do. And I'll give you a perfect example. When he gets the ball on a flare screen on the left side of the court, right, and he's 23 feet from the basket, he's taking a nugget out of the Jordan Poole bag. Remember when Jordan Poole, not last year as much, but the year before last, when Jordan Poole would frame up on the left side and pivot and put the ball down on the deck with his left hand and drive to the basket, he virtually scored every possession. JK can do that now. I've seen him do it numerous times in the preseason, and he's not finishing with a layup off the glass. He's finishing with a thunderous dunk. I've also seen him invite the defense to come to him and find the wing on the opposite side of the court. So he just showed, he's showing me things that I've never seen from him before. His shot is better. He made 3-pointers last year at a decent clip. I'm talking Jonathan Kuminga, but the shot wasn't as fluid as it looks now. Now, he's not making contested threes, but the opportunity threes that he's gotten in the preseason look pretty darn good. He looks like he can shoot anywhere from 35 to 38% from the floor from three. So I would invite contract extension talks with him. I wouldn't go crazy, but 4-year, 80, 90 million is something that I think I could probably digest if I'm the Golden State Warriors, because he's a tradable commodity. Thanks, Abdul. I forgot about the John thing. Probably the best bet, but I see what you mean. Yeah, they got some tough guys on that team. Atlanta's tough. And DeJounte comes from San Antonio. He is probably the most professional player on that team. He shows up every game, and they're good. It's not that they're not good, but DeAndre, the real talented guy who they paid from Virginia, he hasn't stepped up at all. Not at all. I like their bench. They got a good team, but they just don't play tough physical basketball, which is how you win against the higher echelon teams. That's how you win. You gotta go out there. You gotta piss people off. If you piss somebody off, and that person might be your friend, then you got action. You got a chance to win, and that's just how it is. That's why Draymond Green was paid $100 million. That's why the Warriors went out and got Chris Paul. For everybody out there listening to the program right now who thought to yourself that Chris Paul was not going to work with the Warriors, just go into the chat and just acknowledge, I didn't think he was going to work. I still don't think he's going to work. And I'll tell you 19 reasons why he's going to work. Abdullah, I like this. Abdullah says JK looks like he's ready to start with somebody. Yeah. I always make a joke about it when I say that, when I was playing youth basketball, and I played on a great high school team, one of the best high school teams in New York. And, we were all friends, we all liked each other, but we were competitive as hell. And nobody roots for a teammate to get hurt. Nobody. But when somebody got hurt, an ankle got tweaked, or somebody got elbowed or something like that, and you knew that you were going to get an opportunity to play, you was happy as hell. And I'm looking at Jonathan Kuminga, and he's saying to him, he's counting the 5 out there, looking at those guys saying, yo, coach, I need to be out there. And last year, he probably felt that way when he wasn't quite ready. But right now, the Warriors, listen, the Warriors are going to be on television 20 plus times. Well, maybe not that many, but they're going to be on national television as much as anybody, probably more than anybody. And it's because they look good. Aesthetically, they look good. We got a chance to see that Kuminga-Wiggins combination on the floor a little bit in the preseason. That's going to be fun. That's Stephen Curry, Chris Paul, Jonathan Kuminga, Andrew Wiggins, and whomever you want else put out there. Put Darich out there, put Looney out there. put Draymond out there, that's going to be fun. They got some dudes. they really do. Vicky, I know you're smiling. I know you're smiling, Vicky. You like, how the hell you know that, Red? Because I know. I can see through the computer. They have 6 or 7 guys. They can start. Yeah, they do, man. They're stacked. They really are. And this is the type of team that Steve Kerr loves to coach. You know why? Because he doesn't have to depend on any young guys. And this is the Popovich in him, the Phil Jack in him. You know, I get it. The Lute Olson, yeah, I get it. You know, Steve Kerr wants to coach a veteran team. Why? Because those teams have won him 4 championships. And he knows that one of the key elements of winning a championship is chemistry. And this team appears to have excellent chemistry, even from the start. And I'm excited about it because I know basketball. I know basketball on a very, very high level. I know combinations. I know skill sets. And give Mike Dunleavy Jr. credit. He put together a solid roster this year for the Warriors, and I think that Steve Kerr had a lot to do with that. But hand clap to him. I'm hoping Moody gets more aggressive on the second unit. His shot gets better every year. Yeah, you know, Moody is kind of what he is, and I like what he is. He's a complimentary player who's, you know, not great in any aspect of the game, but he's good in all. He's a guy who can shoot. I believe he can shoot 38 to 40% from three-point range. Look at his footwork. He has excellent footwork. Excellent footwork. He's mature beyond his years. He's strong. He plays solid defense. We haven't even talked about GP3. They got bodies. And I think, you know, that's what, I review a lot of the shows in my head mentally. And I'm always questioning what my, predictions are, what my thoughts are. And, I was talking about Podzinski, Brandon, the rookie. And I'm happy that he has a lot of confidence. I'm happy that he took advantage of the minutes that he got in the preseason. But I don't think he's going to play a lot. I don't think he's going to play a lot. And because the Warriors are too good. I just think that there are players on the team who are better. And I think that's going to be to his benefit. He might not think so, but I think it's going to be to his benefit. And hopefully, when I talk basketball and I talk about footwork and I talk about balance, there are people out there who understand what I'm talking about. Because it's so important. When you look at a shooter, don't look at them actually shooting the ball. Start at the bottom. Look at their feet. Are their feet solidly planted on the court? Can you draw a straight line across their toes? Are they going up and down? Are they going forward? Are they going backwards, sideways? Or are they going straight up and down? If they are going straight up and down, and they're good shooters, the ball has a good chance of going in. Brandon needs work on his footwork, and he needs work on his left hand. His right hand, excuse me. And he can do those things in the G League. I think he can. You're not going to have Brandon Podzinski handling the ball when he's out there with so many great players. If he's out there with Chris Paul or Stephen Curry in the regular season, do you think he's going to have the ball in his hand? No, he's not. He's not. What he's going to have is an opportunity shot when they converge on Paul or Wiggins and those guys, and he has to make outside shots. And I think right now the balance in his shot is not quite. It isn't there. If you look at his three-point percentage in the preseason, I haven't checked it out, but I would offer somebody to take a look at it. His numbers were rebounding. He rebounds on a high level, and he instinctively knows basketball, so he can make the right pass. But what is his three-point percentage right now? Somebody tell me if you know. Do you think Pod starts in Santa Cruz? No, I don't. No. Nope. I think that he starts with the team. I think it'd be, I don't know when the G League season starts, but I would assume it's like maybe 12 games into the regular season. But I think he'll get like the first 15 games or so on the Warriors. One reason is, so he can get those practice reps. Because if Clay and Stephen and Chris Paul are playing the minutes that we know they're going to play, they ain't doing a whole lot of scrimmaging. They're not. They're getting treatment in practice. They're running half-court sets. But when Steve Kerr wants to see something happen in a full-court environment, those young guys are going to be playing. And that's where Pods gets in. That's where Brandy gets in. And I think that's so beneficial to him. And he'll get the coaching that he needs at that level. And then the expectation will be for him to go down to the G League and actually do the things that they're asking him to do so he can get better. And a lot of that stuff stems with him making plays with his right hand and getting his footwork together. If you look at, and it's interesting because that's an area of Dante DiVincenzo's game that really evolved when he became a Warrior, because they have such great coaches, and I think that they're very, very meticulous, and they probably see some of the things I'm talking about now. Now, Dante wasn't fully healthy in Sacramento. He wasn't. But he didn't look like the player that the Warriors had last year. Even in Milwaukee, when he was younger, he was starting because, they wanted to start him. He could play defense. He's a smart player. But he is efficient now because when he gets the ball, he knows what to do. He'll put it down on the deck, get to the rim, create for other players, or he will catch it, square his shoulders, go straight up and down, and knock down shots. There were 2, 3, or 4 times last year when Dante won games by making big-time shots for the Warriors just because he was so fundamentally sound in basketball. So that's my take on that. Klay Thompson is the difference between the Warriors going from very good to great. With the number of shots that Klay still wants to take, it's going to be tough shooting at 43%. He's going to have a conversation with himself. I'm sure Kerr will have it with him. The team will have it with him. He's still a very, very good player, but he's a long way from Game 6 Klay. He's not that guy anymore. And I don't think he quite believes that yet. But he's going to really have to accept whatever role that they craft out for him. Because he's still a good player. Klay Thompson can play high-level basketball for another 3 or 4 years. I believe he can. But he cannot be, I don't think, he shouldn't be the second leading shot taker on the team. Should not. Should not. He shouldn't be a 4th third either. But in the best case scenario, Steph is taking the most shots, Stephen's taking the most shots, and Wiggins is taking the second most shots. Do you agree? Probably do. If Wiggins is playing his best basketball, he should take the second most shots on the team. And then I'll say, okay, Klay could be number 3. But the difference between 3 and 4 should not be a wide margin. You got Chris Paul, you got Kuminga, you got Moody, you got a bunch of guys. If Klay is the second leading shot taker on the Warriors this year, I don't think that they're going to accomplish the goals that they want to accomplish. Unless he gets his shooting percentage at least around 46%. 45 is not even good enough. And a guy like that who's taking most threes, He should be shooting 40% from the from 3-point range. 40%. How many shots did he? So that's gonna be interesting to see how that whole thing plays out. But Warrior fans, you should feel pretty excited. Turnovers are gonna go down. Execution is gonna go up, and it should be a great year. Sack, I got your back also. I mean, I think Sack right now, if I looked at them, they won 48 games last year. I think they're probably going to win somewhere between 44 and 46. If they win more than 48 games this year, I would be surprised. I really would be surprised. Because I would ask you, basketball fans, Stack fans, Warrior fans, where did the Kings improve? You might say Kobe Jones. He's good, but he's a rookie. The player that they got from Europe, I don't have his name right in front of me. I don't want to butcher his name. He might eventually get it together, but he is on the struggle bus. He's like, whoa, the NBA is a little different. Yeah, it is a little different. It's not the same. A 23, 24-foot jump shot is a lot different from a 22-foot jump shot against the zone. It's different. He's not that explosive. On television, on the YouTube videos, he looked a little more explosive than he appears to be. And he's not real quick. So it's going to put more pressure on De'Aaron Fox, Mitchell. I think Kobe Jones is going to get some of those minutes, man. That dude was an absolute steal. He's good. Kobe Jones is a really, really good player. He got good size. He's 6'5", 6'6". I actually think Mike Brown, thinks that he could actually maybe get better by bringing Herder off the bench because he doesn't have the firepower off the bench. So if you could start, Kobe's not going to start as a rookie right away. But eventually he can play good minutes. But a combination of Herder, Jones, and Monk kind of gives Mike Brown some of that offensive power that he wants for 4 quarters. Because Mitchell, I think Mitchell's shot has gotten worse. And if you are just known for your defense in the NBA, you're not going to play heavy minutes. You're just not. Deontay Mitchell, out of Baylor. I'm rooting for the guy too, but his shot just does not look good. It does not look good at all. So, outside of the Stockton Kings and the Warriors, the NBA has to be ecstatic about the young talent that's in the league. Wembanyama is a flat-out star. It doesn't mean that. I think he will help San Antonio win maybe 10 more games. So they'll go probably from like 26 games to maybe 35, 36, or 34, something like that. But what a beautiful talent. What a beautiful player. It'll be interesting to see if Oklahoma City plays up to their talent level. Because their talent level is pretty darn high. But we don't know. Oklahoma City, the Orlando Magic is really, really talented. Whether or not they will take that big leap, I don't know. The Chicago Bulls are what they are. They didn't get that much better talent-wise, but they got some grown men on their team. And I think that in and of itself is going to help the Bulls. Now, when it comes to the Bulls, I am a little biased, because of their head coach. I know their head coach. Their head coach is a friend of mine. And, I know his mentality, and nobody works harder than Billy Donovan. And they're going to play defense, and they got some pros. Whether or not Zach LaVine can be his best self, I don't know. obviously, DeAndre. You know what I'm talking about. I can't think of his name. I have a serious problem with names if they're right in front of me. But they got some players. But I think a lot of people would think that they wouldn't even be in the playoffs. Chicago's going to make the playoffs. They are. And they're going to outwork the Orlandos of the world. You know, the Charlottes of the world. Indiana Pacers got a decent team. So, you know, it's going to be interesting in the East. The West is definitely stronger. There's no doubt about that. You know, Ja not playing for the first 25 games is going to hurt Memphis. I got them probably somewhere between 6 to 9 this year. Their mountain man is going to be out for the year. Their center is out for the year. Knee surgery. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be Memphis this year. I think, if anything, this is Memphis' year to kind of clean up the mess. You know, to kind of get aligned, to get professional. Paul Gray says this is Clay's contract year as well. He might be hard-headed about his role on the team. Yeah, you know what? Yeah. You know, it was kind of cute, you know, when he was really young. That's not cute anymore. It's not. I'm a big Clay fan, but sometimes Clay can sulk. And it's not a good look because he's a vet. Clay's been in the league, what now? What, 10, 11 years? Well, yeah, I mean, he's on the north side of 30. And I'm not ever going to get in somebody's bag. I'm never going to do that, you know. But reality is reality. You know, it's real. This is right in front of you. To go from $43 million a year, which is what he makes, he's going to have to take a pay cut. I think that he needs to be respected. I don't know what that looks like. I thought Draymond was going to get $30 million, and he sells on 25 a year for 4 years, $100 million. I can't see Klay Thompson getting more than $25 million. I can't. Not when you got guys like Moody, Kuminga, those types of guys who have to get contracts. I would love to see Klay Thompson finish his career with the Warriors, but he's going to take a big dip from 43 to whatever he makes. I don't know what that number is, but it's not going to be anything near $43 million. There's nobody in the league that's going to pay Klay Thompson anything close to $43 million a year. It's not going to happen. So hopefully they'll be able to come together and reach a number that works. Yeah, I don't have I mean, when you look at Boston, I don't just go off talent. Boston is really, really talented. Porzingis, you know, Brown, Tatum, Holiday. I mean, come on, man. White. They got players. They don't have a great bench, but they got players. This Harden thing needs to work itself out. All right? And I probably have an unpopular take with regards to the Masters. But I'm going to put it out there anyway, because I don't think that the average fan could even fathom how big a business the NBA is. And I'm not on Harden's side, but I believe that James Harden was lied to. You know, I think he was. And I think he was told that, first and foremost, I think Philly told him, and they made probably a good business decision, we're not going to extend you for the numbers that you want. Probably, maybe there was a decree that says we're not going to extend you at all. Maybe there was no negotiation. Okay? That's their right. He's 33 years old. He's not the same player. He's still very good. But they decided they were not going to give him a contract. Okay, fine. He said, I'll opt in and then you trade me. Okay, you opt in, we'll work to trade you. They didn't trade him because they wanted something in return that they deemed acceptable. That's not what you said. You said you want to trade him. So now you have a guy like James Harden who doesn't have a contract beyond this year. You're telling him, well, we want you to go out and have your best year for us, and we all seemingly benefit from this by winning the championship, and then you go get you another contract. No one's giving James Harden a major contract next year, unless it's the organization that he wants to get to. We know this, and Philly knows this. So I don't think that there is a victim in this whole thing. But because, generally speaking, professional organizations have control of the media. And James Harden is an easy target because of how he's comported himself in the past. But if you compartmentalize every situation and you look at this one as it is, I don't think there are any victims. And I mean, you would tell me, I mean, have we all been lied to? Yeah, we've been lied to. Everybody's been lied to. But I don't equate my lifestyle to a professional athlete who's in the $100 million club. I just don't. Because I think that everybody in that world is not really dealing with reality. They're dealing with a separate set of variables. But generally speaking, the players are the ones going to take the hit from that. And it doesn't matter because Dame Lillard is a great guy. I know that personally. He's a wonderful human being. He did everything right. Never got in trouble. Never did anything. Did Portland really accommodate him in ways that he wanted to be accommodated? No, they didn't. Is he in a bad situation? No, he's not. But you think he don't feel a little salty? For the past 10, 11 years, he was the only reason to even go to a game in Portland. Why else did you go to Portland? Why? You ain't gonna win. He was exemplary. I'm not comparing him to James Harden. I'm not comparing those two scenarios. But what I'm saying is that every situation is different, and players more times than not are not going to be able to win those battles in the media. It's not. You're not. So, and from my perspective, if I'm a player on Philly, if I'm the new head coach, Nurse, I want this over. I don't want it to get in the way of this, this Harden, Daryl Morey, Tate to Tate. Is he that damn good anyway? Is he that good? At this point, you don't think he's that good because you didn't extend him. I'm looking at Philly kind of sideways anyway. I'm going to tell you, they didn't even extend Maxey. Maxey wanted a contract. He wanted a contract extension. And they said, no, we're going to wait. So, again, I think you need to take a real close look at Philly. And even just like with Embiid, how many interviews have we heard Embiid say, well, I just want to win a championship. Hopefully we can do it here in Philly. That's a big difference by saying, I want to spend the rest of my career in Philly. I've heard Embiid on numerous times say, hey, I love it here. I love the fans, I love the organization, but I want to win and hopefully we can do it here. That means that, I'm hoping to leave it. things don't turn out right. So I'm not pro Harden at all, but I see through the fog, and I understand that these level of negotiations, these situations on a professional level are totally different than what quote normal people deal with. And I'm very normal. I'm a normal person. I go to work every day. I work hard. I love working. I do like to work. I do. So that's my take on that. What do you think about the Lakers? I think the Lakers will be good, but I don't think they're championship level. I don't. I think it's up for grabs, man. I don't look at the Denver Nuggets and think that they're gonna just show up and just repeat. I think it's whomever wants it. It's gonna be an interesting year in the NBA. A lot of really talented young players. I'm excited about watching. People like Stephen Curry and the Warriors have one last hurrah because they won 4. To think that they could squeeze another championship out of this bunch is crazy. I heard Andre Iguodala on ESPN talk about them stealing a championship a couple of years ago. Because I think that they did. I've been saying that for 2 years. I didn't think they were the best team. I guess Andre feels the same way in terms of being the most talented team. They stole a championship. Why not steal another one? Go ahead, take another one. I also wanted to talk to you about a movie that I saw this weekend. I'm sure everybody's heard of it. It is the movie that's been promoted now. It's Oscar time, get it in before the end of the year so it can be looked upon as a potential winner of the Oscar. And that's Killers of the Flower Moon, a movie directed by the great Martin Scorsese, starring Robert De Niro, Leonardo DiCaprio, and a young lady by the name of Lily Gladstone, who plays the role of a Native American woman. I don't have her name right in front of me now, but it's a story that I don't think that if you know history, you would be all that surprised about. It's a story of how Native Americans were given land in Oklahoma that seemingly nobody wanted. And what they discovered was there was oil on this land. So much oil to the extent that everybody in the town, everybody in the city was rich. Everybody. And what happened is you had nefarious people coming into their town. All those white men during that era, and they used various methods to get the land deeds from the Native Americans. And I won't go any further than that. Give you a chance to watch it, but they devised a scheme to get this done, and madness ensued, and a lot of horrible things happened. Robert De Niro, who, man, I'm a big Robert De Niro fan. Robert De Niro played a character. Think of the most wretched human being that you could ever think of. That's who Robert De Niro played. And I think he might win an Oscar for this. What a horrible person. But it just kind of shows his genius, how good he was, how good he is as an actor. Yeah, riveting stuff. Leonardo DiCaprio played a complete weasel, and he did a great job. He did a great job playing this weasel. And yeah, all A's, man. Excellent across the board. The movie is 3+ hours, and it didn't play like 3+ hours. I mean, I thought it felt like 2.5. It felt like 2.5 hours, but it was 3+. I would highly recommend it. I would highly recommend the movie. I think you should probably pick the particular time that you wanted to see it. If you are someone who goes to the movies, or you're into it like I am. I love movies. But yeah, I don't want to give too much away. That is the premise. People exploiting and taking advantage of others during that particular time. And what I found interesting about the movie, though, is that movie, that era, was during the same time as Black Wall Street in Oklahoma. The same time, the 1920s. So you had two groups of people of color, African Americans who were very prosperous, had banks, doctors, lawyers, very affluent society. And then you had these Native Americans who came into wealth via oil, but they had tremendous culture, very family oriented, and over a period of time, a lot of those values were just ripped away from them. And if you like history, I mean, I like history. I think good or bad, I think we need to know history. And as brutally entertaining as Killers of the Flower Moon is, it's also entertaining. And we're at a point now where more and more people are adamant about not exposing kids to history. I think that's a mistake. I think it's a mistake. I think it's wrong. I think we should know the truth about where we are, because we've come so far. We've done so many incredible things. But, there's been a lot of pain along the way. And I don't think that pain should be erased from history. So, Killers of the Flower Moon is a movie that I highly recommend. We got Game 7 tomorrow night. And I guess the Dallas series where Arlington, where the Texas Rangers play. They took it to a Game 7 tonight by defeating the Houston Astros. I'm pulling for the Astros for the Dusty Baker. We'll see what's up tomorrow night. But very, very competitive series. If Texas Rangers win, certainly I won't be disappointed. I like Boch. I like Bruce Bochy, who brought the Giants 3 world championships. So it's kind of awesome to see two guys who like the last of the Mohegans, Dusty Baker and Bruce Bochy, in an era where ageism is all around us, manifesting throughout our society. You have two of the most experienced managers, two of the eldest managers in Major League Baseball, showing that they can still get it done. So I'm happy for those guys. I'm rooting for Dusty. We'll see what's up. San Francisco Giants have been granted permission to talk to the San Diego Padres' current manager, Bob Melvin. And I got to think, what's up, SG? I got to think that Bob Melvin has a good chance at becoming the Giants manager. You don't interview for a job that is perceived to be not as good as the one that you have, unless there's trouble in paradise. And if you are an organization that is totally enthralled with your manager, you probably don't want him to go interviewing with anybody else, particularly a team in your division. right? So, Bob Miller's been successful with the A's. I'm sure he's known pretty well in the Bay Area in Northern California, and we'll see what's up. I think things have to go really, really wrong for him not to get that gig. SG says, I can't wait to go to opening night game versus Suns. I'm pumped up. Yo, man. Good for you, SG. I'm glad that you will be one of the 18,000 plus people there. I won't be there. I'll be watching on television very happily. And I'm actually slated to be on the Crew Show Tuesday night as well. So be on the lookout for that. What a difference 6 or 7 months make. Larry Kruger, Larry and I are friends, you guys know that, for 20 years, actually. He's zoomed by 10,000 subscribers. Over 25,000. We're talking about a success story. So that should be a lot of fun. Kind of get some of the gang back together, I guess, and talk some basketball after the Warriors take on the Phoenix Suns at home. Mark says, Red, thanks for the movie recommendation. Yeah, man, it's grade A across the board. Martin Scorsese doesn't play. The one thing about Leonardo DiCaprio too that I just marvel at, this was a child actor, right? Rarely do you have a child actor grow up and mature into the type of artist he is. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's very conscious in terms of the roles that he chooses, but he's excellent. What a great actor Leonardo is. And Martin Scorsese and Robert De Niro are in complete step with one another on the same heartbeat. There are some other surprises in the movie also that I won't mention, because I want you to be pleasantly surprised to see. It just kind of tells you how much people just adore Martin Scorsese and the opportunity to work with him, to the extent that they would take non-starring roles, but be stars in their roles just to work with the guy. And I think that was the case also in this movie. So check it out. All right, man. I don't know if I can do any more. We're coming up on a minute, hour and 15. I want to appreciate everybody who's hung in there and checked this show out. It was a lot of fun for me, and hopefully it was entertaining for you. All right. Check me out on Tuesday night. Like I said, I think I'll be on the Crew Show. And this is the first show I've done in 7 days, and I think a lot of it is just me kind of compiling information and thinking about what I wanted to do, how the shows are going, and I've really zeroed in on, and I talk about this, just doing great shows, man. Regardless of how many people are listening, who's listening, just put good stuff on tape. In the sports vernacular, particularly football, but I think it applies to a lot of different sports. You want to put good stuff on tape. And I think it applies to doing sports talk shows, any type of content. And you could be doing horrible shows and have a lot of people watching you or checking you out and drawing a conclusion that you suck. No, this is terrible. Why am I wasting my time? Oh, because someone else said that it's popular. Somebody else said that it's good. That's why I'm doing it. As opposed to, you know what? I'm really getting something out of this. And I think that's my goal. My goal is to come on and exhibit someone who is well prepared, entertaining, and is really into this, man, because I really like to do it. And for anybody who's listening, hopefully that's the message that I am conveying. That's the goal. I feel like I accomplished that goal tonight. All right. West Coast Bias. Frank, you the man. No, you the man. You the man, West Coast Bias. You know that. All right. Hit me up at Big Frank Red on X Twitter. I'm going to keep saying Twitter. And I'll acknowledge it as X. I'll keep saying Twitter. I love to converse back and forth throughout the week. And don't be surprised if I pop up at some point during the week. I have a little more time this week for a very good reason, and I'll keep that to myself. But yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about sports. This is truly the sweet spot of the sports calendar. The NFL is in full effect. The NBA is starting. MLB is on the cusp of crowning its champion for the year. One thing is ironic though, right? Check this out. This is October 22nd. We haven't even got to the World Series yet. My man Brian Iglesias said, "What's up, Frank? Keeping it real as always." I appreciate you, brother. Mark Graves says, "You are not only entertaining, but a wealth of knowledge." Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that as well. I find that, I do a lot of pre-work. Every show I'm putting in at least 2 hours. But I need things right in front of me now, more than I ever had before. And I can speculate why. I really don't know why. I can speculate. But it bothers me when I can't just draw names and get all the names correct. That's frustrating. It makes me, what it does though, is it really makes me appreciate how important this is, doing a show. It's really, really important. People watching television, maybe once or twice a broadcast, they'll go inside the studio and you'll see a Chris Collinsworth, Mike Tirico, or whomever, and you'll see their desks filled up with papers of names of this or that. It's a big deal. It's a real big deal. I remember when I first got into this business and growing up as a child, growing up as a kid in New York, Marv Albert, Marv Albert's an institution, right? Hall of Famer. Marv Albert actually was the Knicks play-by-play guy, I believe when he was like 22 or 23 or something crazy like that, when he just got out of Syracuse. But Marv Albert, I saw him in the media room one time in Sacramento. And literally up until 30 minutes before he was about to broadcast, I'd never really seen him do his thing. But he's over in the corner preparing meticulously all these notes, all of these papers. And at that point, I knew that I wanted to do this in some capacity because the work really shows. If you show up, turn your mic on, and you're not prepared, the listener's going to know it. They really are. And when you are prepared, it sounds like a show. It sounds really smooth. It sounds like you put some work in. So I respect the craft, man. I respect the craft and I respect the work to be done. SG, good for you. My mom is taking me to the Warriors game. Good for your mom, man. Take care of your mom, B. That's good. So, yeah, that's how I feel about that. If you are new to the show, and you have not subscribed, and you like it, then hit the subscribe button. Beyond that, continue to check it out and spread the word if you can. I want to thank everybody, and looking forward to opening night on Tuesday, and before that, looking forward to see how the 49ers and Brock Purdy deals with a little adversity. You playing on the road, that's a little adversity, and then you don't have some of your key players that got your back. That's another challenge that you have to overcome. I think the 49ers will, but it won't be easy. All right? Success in getting paid is a manifestation of the whole process. If you as an individual don't do things, help other people make their lives better. As far as I'm concerned, you haven't done nothing. I am Frank Red. I want to thank you again for checking out the In the Dungeon program. Hit me up at Big Frank Red. Until we do this again, peace.